all those names I just gave you was an AI generated name.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
So
you used
I don't know, it just says business name generated.
Okay. But we did it.
We figured it out. We workshopped. This is a long drive from the beach. This was a notes app shared.
I mean, we have to explain the beach part a little more, but yeah, I mean, we spent 4 hours in the car to the beach to go play golf, 4 hours back, and we still didn't have a name. We have a notes app full of stuff. You heard us talk about how we're bringing in Chat GPT and any type of AI to help us do this, but none of that is how we came up with it.
Doesn't matter. It's all irrelevant. We're here now.
Okay, we're here. So, Chris.
We are the coach's sons.
Let's go.
Simply put, everybody has a dad, parent, whatever, guardian, whatever you want to call them. But everybody has one where they've been your coach at one point or another. It doesn't have to be the head coach. Could be a hitting coach.
Yep.
Hell, it could be a basketball coach. I don't care. But this is a baseball podcast. My dad's coached my teams. I've gotten the right-hand man treatment. Got to hang around with them. I'm sure Andrew's felt the same.
Yep.
Other than that, I've been pretty dog shit my entire career. So, when I'm talking about some of these guys and how they're trash and not good, just know where I'm coming from. Career high school bench warmer. Just want to let you know that.
That's fair. And, intros are probably a good idea. I played baseball for 13 plus years. I was okay. I was good enough to go to JUCO. I played with really great baseball players growing up, but none of them, know who I am. So, I decided to give up baseball when I realized, this is not a future for me. So now I'm the guy that sits on the couch and tells everyone who will listen how he shouldn't have thrown that pitch or how he shouldn't have stolen second, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, my dad coached me and my brother for a few years, and obviously I made the all-star team those years. So, so I thought I was special.
Always an all-star.
Always an all-star.
You're an all-star in the year that it's the highest, right? So when it's 11 and 12-year-old, you usually just make the 12-year-old team. That's how that works. But if your dad sneaks into the coaching staff, you get to hang around at the 11. Back in the day, you got your 2 innings and an at-bat. You're on the team. You're part of the team.
And you got the jersey. I still have one of my all-star jerseys from back in the day. I don't think I can wear it anymore. No, I know I can't wear it anymore, but I still have it, which is hilarious.
Couldn't fit it over my right arm. So.
Were your all-star teams any good?
No.
Yeah.
One thing I do know, very much so, it was ingrained in our heads that from the minute you start All-Stars, which is your path to the Little League World Series, 27 wins. If you win 27 at that particular point, if you win 27 games in a row, you will be in Williamsport.
27. I never knew that. That is wild.
It might not be, and I could be making this up. It could be a complete falsity. I never looked it up. But my understanding was at minimum you're in Williamsport at 27, or that might win you the whole damn thing.
Right, that's fair.
But that's 27 in a row. I don't think we won 2. We got knocked out pretty early. That's just Little League.
Yeah, exactly. The best team I was on for an all-star perspective is we won 2 games. It was great. But everybody else, man, we got trashed.
You know what? We did that year. We did get screwed. We had an illegal player pitch against us.
Too old?
Yeah, he was 13.
Yeah.
Like the older part of 13.
Yeah.
We lost 2-1.
Just throwing heat, right? Just like the fastest thing you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, I mean, mind you, that the kid we had thrown was like 6'2" at the time, but he was the right age. But yeah, we lost, and nobody cares at that point because by the time they found out, it was.
Can we talk about the discrepancy of youth baseball just real quick? Because boys hit their growth spurt at different ages. I can remember being like 9 and 10, and there are some giants out there that were just throwing nothing but heat, and not well. Like, I saw a bunch of kids get hit in the back, in the arms. Like, my brother took a baseball to like his elbow and was out for a long time because this giant of a kid was just up there throwing just straight cheese and couldn't control it for anything. And but yeah, I mean, it's so funny looking back on those.
I mean, yeah, you run into those guys all the time, right? Like, that's the age you start realizing, like, hey, I'm not as good as this person.
Exactly.
Right? You know, a lot of people, you know, especially with this age of the internet, is, you know, my kid could do whatever he wants. It's like, you need to take a step back, too, because that's the level, and that kid that just hit 5 home runs in this game and struck out 8 guys, 18 guys, isn't going to make it past Teen League ball, or he'll be the 3rd best player on his high school team.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. But, you know, the amount of, you know, everybody's going to have that story. Your local, you know, Little League, Teen League guy who was, you know, the best player in the area, you blew out his knee, blew out his arm, whatever. And there were just some guys who just hit puberty, and man, like, you got to that 6 feet tall and you're throwing 70 miles an hour from 45 feet
Which
away.
is fast, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, 7 doesn't seem like it, but like you said, when you're closer, that shit's coming in real fast.
I missed that equivalent in, they took it away from the Little League World Series. They used to say, like, this pitch is the equivalent of, but these kids throw 72, 73. The equivalent's like 105.
Yeah,
they're all this Chapman.
It's really
and
fast.
throwing a curveball. It's insane.
Baseball is so difficult.
Yeah, it's
like,
not
it's ridiculous.
easy. And now they're pulling up these umpire cam, catcher cam, and you're watching Chapman come in at 100, and you're like, I can't even see it, let alone react to it, let alone know that it's a ball or a strike, let alone pitch recognition, let alone actually making contact. Like all of the above. You know, clearly baseball is a crazy game. You know, we've been involved in it. I haven't played at too high of a level, so I can't speak from experience past, again, the lowest of the low, collegiate ball. So what, the max? I mean, I've probably seen a few guys hit 90, but not much. I know, you know, at some point your experience and who you've played with / against will come up. Definitely a little bit better than what I've had. I've had a few major league, you know, we'll call them colleagues, I guess, opponents.
Yeah.
Nothing like the stature of yours, but again, just hats off to baseball in its entirety. You know, they keep it pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, and it is the hardest thing to do in sports, hitting a baseball, and I don't think that's really debatable. People try to debate it, but it's just not. The reaction time it takes, the timing, that's muscle memory. Like, you can't actually purposely do that. It's just, I'm gonna practice this so much that when I actually swing, the muscle memory is just going to take over, and we're just going to hope it's in the same plane as wherever that ball is going to be, because that ball's coming in, like you said, hot as hell, and it's just impossible to hit.
I guess from a hitting perspective, maybe you're right. You know, you could learn that muscle memory and all that, but, you know, you can't teach the power, right? You got to hit the weight room, all that. But my biggest thing, and, you know, maybe I'll get crushed for this at some point. Hopefully this thing becomes a big deal. But my biggest thing from you know, talking about pitchers and arm strength is you could either throw 90 or you can't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you get to that point in your baseball career, you know, you're 16 to 18 years old.
Yep.
And you either throw 80 or you don't.
Yeah.
And, like, yes, there are coaches. There's some really good coaches out there who can uptick that mile per hour for you, right? Get that arm strength
Some
up.
strength coaches.
But you're talking, what, 5 miles an hour? And sure, that's a lot. I'm not saying that's
a lot. 5's a lot, yeah.
But I'm saying from 80 to 85, what's that get you? Nothing. Maybe you're a third-day pitcher in college, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you're talking about every single guy that walks onto that mound in Major League Baseball throwing above 90 minus a few southpaws.
I mean, but really, who out there doesn't throw at least 91? At that level.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
They all do.
And all the old guards going to come in and be like, what about Greg Maddux? Like, people don't pitch like that anymore. They just don't.
Again, when your argument is one of the greatest, if not the, you know,
the greatest.
I won't say the greatest, but top 5 greatest pitchers of all time.
The greatest at what he did.
Yeah, the guy was a bulldog. He did things way different than anybody else.
Yep.
Right? Like, Greg Maddux couldn't be Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson couldn't be Greg Maddux.
Yeah,
vice versa. Right? So that's as simple as that.
Well,
so when you have to pull that one name out of your ass to make a point, I think you're invalid anyway.
So here's a fun debate. Who is the pitcher you would never, ever want to stand in that batter's box against?
Bob Gibson.
Okay, that's a really good answer. I think if I was a lefty, I would say Randy Johnson, because that seems... That arm angle from the left-handed box sounds like I would just want to die every time he pitched.
I mean, just listen to any John Kruk interview or watch any John Kruk highlight.
Thanks, man.
My man almost had a mini heart attack there, coming from there. But yeah, I mean, I say Bob Gibson. I never watched him pitch. Let's be real.
Right.
The only reason I say that is,
all the stories.
They had to make a rule to lower the mound because he's got a 1.12 ERA. The guy, that speaks for itself.
His stats are hilarious. Him and we've talked about this, and we'll get into this many times. Greg Maddux, Bob Gibson, and Tony Gwynn, their stats are ridiculous.
I mean, don't forget Barry Bonds.
I forget Barry. Okay, Barry, you're also... So those four guys, there might be one or two anomalies, but those four guys consistently, you look up any stat of theirs, you're like, the fuck? How is this real?
I love some good obscene baseball stats, if you will.
Yeah.
Just some crazy stuff that you've never seen anybody do, and you're like, this guy did it a million. Again, make it up. It's like Tony Gwynn struck out 26 times all year, and Jesus, can't even think of a name right now. Bellinger will strike out 50 times in June.
Yeah.
And you're like, what is going... Like, this is a complete different, ball game that they were playing.
It's on a different map.
We'll get to those. We love stats. I could see us at some point doing, bringing in a little, like, baseball reference type game. We just kind of look up something obscure, like, who finished fourth in Cy Young in the AL in 2010. I don't know, but
someone's gonna hear that and be like, "You guys are so boring."
Yeah, it's definitely some nerd stuff. We have some fun with it, and you throw out names, that you can't even think of, you wouldn't normally think of, right? You're like Matt Garza, and like, where the hell did that name come from, right? Like, why do I know anything about Matt Garza or his career? So you'll get a lot of that from us, right? A lot of weird, awkward name drops, just because, again, we love baseball. We love talking about it. And that's our hope here, is just to try and have fun doing it.
Exactly. All right. So another thing we need to get out of the way is our biases. So obviously, being baseball fans, growing up playing baseball our whole lives, we're going to have teams that we support, that we love more than others. So let's go ahead and talk about it so that people know when we talk about these teams, there's a little bit of bias there. I'll start. I am born and raised in Georgia. I lived in Atlanta most of my life. I am a die-hard Atlanta Braves fan. So the bitterness you hear when we talk about like the new playoff structure or anything like that comes from being a Braves fan my whole life. So I will try to keep the bias out of my conversation, but there's going to be times that it's going to be there. So there you go.
He will never keep the bias out of his conversation.
That's
You'll
true.
feel it. I'll call him out on it. It'll all be equal.
Best team in baseball.
Said it before, I'm from Scranton, PA. You would think that I'm just going to be a Phillies fan.
Thank God you're not.
I am not. Now, much to Andrew's chagrin, I do root for the Phillies to an extent. We'll call them my NL team, mostly because I grew up, in Scranton. They were the AAA team of the Phillies, Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Barons, for the longest time, most of my childhood. So watched Howard, Utley, Rollins, Lieberthal, that whole gang just kind of come up together. So that was always fun. But my actual favorite team is the Seattle Mariners.
Poor soul.
I don't have much to say other than they're a disgrace to what I think baseball should be, without a salary cap. If we want to be up to date on stuff, Jerry DiPoto's statements recently have just destroyed me as a fan. So I'm hoping that the Mariners are on Ohtani watch, so I will be obnoxious about that. If we do get to put a bunch of these out prior to the season, I will be nonstop Ohtani, because the Mariners taught me to believe, even if there's nothing to believe in. So just be ready for it. It'll be a lot of sadness. It's odd being a Mariners fan. There's not a lot of us,
right.
But it feels
like you guys were trending in the right direction for a while there, but
Depends on who you ask.
Right.
First playoff appearance in 20 years.
It was a long
Happened
time.
in 22, which was awesome. Like great spot. Cal Raleigh walk-off home run. Beat the Blue Jays in the wild card. That's great. And then got shit pumped by the Astros. And then, you expect 2023 to be bigger and better, right? Go add, right? Let's do it. And we're talking about adding Tommy La Stella. We're talking about adding Cooper Hummel. That, if I got his name wrong, but I don't care. He doesn't deserve it to be right.
That's the impact he had.
Kind of pathetic, right? It's just it was bad vibes, right? And
right.
You had the Teoscar trade, which was awesome, great. Here we go. But that didn't really, you've been in the text messages with me. It's keep it going. Add more. We need something else.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it. So now you got DePoto's statements of, we're right where we want to be, which makes me think they're not going to add, which puts me right back in the same spot as just being a sad Mariners fan. I'll try to keep my doom and gloom away, but it probably won't happen. You'll hear about the Mariners more than you ever want to, but I'll be your guy.
So my theory is you're a Mariners fan because you grew up and King Griffey Jr. Slugfest was on the N64. And, I mean, if you played baseball, you played that game. And that's got to be why you love the Mariners, right?
So it's Griffey.
Okay.
It's 100% Griffey. And then as, that whole clan left, right? You had Edgar, got A-Rod, you had Randy Johnson, Buhner.
Yeah.
As all those guys start leaving, we get Ichiro. I just grasped on the Ichiro and kept him close to my heart forever. I love that man.
And that's why, to me, that's why Ohtani would go to Seattle, because he loves Ichiro too.
So, again, don't get me started on Ohtani to Seattle.
I'm trying to rally you up over here.
Yeah, I could tell. I'm trying to keep it down over here. But, if Ichiro has his say and could talk about everything, great. Let's go get Ohtani.
Yeah.
But for now, let's let the offseason play out. Stanton isn't going to pay him, however the hell many million he's supposed to get. Give him ownership. I don't care. It's not my money.
Give him the Messi deal. Give him TV rights,
right?
All that kind of stuff.
Passan has said this wants to be his one stop, right? He just wants to go to this place and be done. Mm-hmm. So figure it out.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any nonsense of we were close or that's loser talk, right? The Boston Red Sox do that all the time. Oh, we were interested. We were there to the end. If you don't get the guy, I don't give a shit how close you were.
Right.
Make it happen.
Yeah, that still means you lost. I don't have the same fan experience as you do. I have a more complacent one towards winning because the Braves were so good for so long, but only got one World Series, which, great. Got one recently and looked like we were geared to do it again because we had historically the best offense basically ever. So from a stat perspective, and to just get our teeth kicked in by the Phillies again, it's not fun. I can feel that complacency coming back in, and I hate it. But I feel, and again, referencing our text messages, I was bitching so much around the All-Star break going, we need arms. What are we doing? Why do we not have more pitching? Okay, yes, the long ball is going to win us a lot of games, but it doesn't win you national championships.
College now?
I'm sorry. It doesn't win you world championships. It shouldn't be called the world championship.
It's just a piece of metal anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, it doesn't win. It doesn't win the big games. You go and pitching helps prevent momentum. Baseball is a sport of momentum. Obviously, the Phillies had it again, but they lost it. They lost the momentum because pitching came into play, and we were never able to do that. So, and that's frustrating.
Yeah, for those 2 weeks, week and a half, the Phillies were a buzzsaw, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Marlins don't count.
Sure, but they did what they were supposed to do.
That's fair. Yeah, that's
right?
fair. Yep.
If you asked, I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. If the Phillies, I bet the odds weren't as bad, but I bet the odds were close. I don't remember looking because your boy had to take a little hiatus from it. So it's better that I don't look at all.
Right.
But I bet the odds weren't that bad. The Braves had to be overwhelming favorites.
Oh, they were.
Especially when you have Ranger Suarez pitching game one.
Yep. Yeah. No, we were definitely.
Right, you say all you want about pitching. Like, Ranger Suarez showed up.
Yep.
And like, the other thing, and you're going to get pissed at this, Strider has his flaws. His ERA is mediocre. Mm-hmm. Right, I know, whatever your ERA is. We're gonna get advanced stats nerds coming down my throat.
Yeah, exactly.
But just an indicator of like he's middle of the road. He was like 15th to 20th.
What do you mean? Oh, ERA. Okay, gotcha.
Sure.
Gotcha.
Guy gives up runs. He gets tagged, and when he does, it gets bad. And guess what? It happens and when it happens in the playoffs, it's bad.
Yeah.
Guess what the Phillies didn't do? Give up a lot of runs. Zach Wheeler pitched his ass off.
Yeah, Zach Wheeler was so.
He was not. He had nothing to do with the Phillies' loss. Aaron Nola really didn't have anything to do with the Phillies' loss.
Yep.
You could latch it on probably Craig Kimbrell a little bit.
Yep.
But I guess back to my original point is like the Braves had that lined up how they should have, right? You said game one, and you got Strider against Suarez as a Braves
we should have
fan.
won that game.
As a Braves fan, you're not like, okay, that's a win, and then you figure out how you're going to win game two, right? Like, okay, Fried. But Fried wasn't. There's no way you could have been confident in Fried this year.
Oh, not at all. No. Fried looked bad. And to Strider's credit, again, here comes my bias. Strider looked really good this year in comparison to last year.
Sure.
But you're right. When he gives up those runs, and it's because he throws it a bazillion miles an hour, straight down the middle. You know what I mean? Like, those guys just have to put the bat like out there. They don't even have to swing that hard because he's throwing it so fast. That is, if they put barrel to it, it's out of the ballpark. And so, because man, he's throwing some ducks. And then, in fact, especially that last game he pitched, every single slider he threw got absolutely tagged. And if you just, throw till your arm falls off, man. You know what I mean? Like, if that's working, stop trying to be cute. Stop trying to confuse the batter. If they can't keep up with you, throw it past them. But every time he threw a slider, that thing got absolutely mauled. And anyways, but again, and we can talk about this later. The Braves were cold. They went into that series super cold, and our bats never woke up. Austin Riley hit well, and he was the only bright spot we had that entire series. Yeah,
I mean, Braves didn't get it done.
No,
I don't want to hear they were cold. I'll never accept that as an excuse. I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
I don't want to hear it.
Baseball's a sport of momentum, Chris.
Sure.
Okay, so you can be hot or cold with momentum.
I suppose, but how, like, the Braves didn't play a meaningful game in a month.
That's fair. Yeah.
It's like, who's to say say the Marlins didn't even, it was just Phillies Braves, right? Say that was the normal matchup, Phillies Braves, and now you got Wheeler game one, or whatever. The Phillies didn't have to play for anything either in the last week and a half. They were locked in too. What goes different? Yeah, not much. And to be fair, why ERA could be misleading. Strider only had a 2.8 ERA this postseason.
Yeah, I'd say he pitched way better this postseason.
A 1.34 WHIP. So he's walking people. He's giving up. He gave up 12 hits in 12 innings. He walked 5. He struck out 15. There's your thing. That's what he does, right? He probably struck out 7 through 9 3 times every time he faced them. But what you're really looking at is I call it getting tagged, but he gets hit around a little bit.
Yeah.
And sure, he's your ace. You stand by him 100%. You're never not going to. But when that's your best effort that you're going to get, you're giving up hits. You're putting people in bad spots, whether it be fielders, bullpen, whomever. It gets taxing.
Yeah, and it really was our best shot too, because we didn't even have a number 2. Morton was out. Fried is not. Had a blister on his throwing hand. You can't.
Was Morton injured, or did they just not put him on?
He was injured. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was.
I thought they just left him off.
Oh no, they didn't leave him off. He couldn't. He was on the IR. So, or the short list, whatever. So, it is frustrating, but it is what it is what it is. And like I said, I feel that complacency when we make the playoffs every single year, and then nothing good happens.
So with that said, like, much to your happiness, the Phillies blew it themselves.
Yes, they did. Thank God.
So they must have just been really cold. They had that day off in between, and You know,
I see what you're doing, and I don't appreciate it.
All right. So, I mean, let's get into, it's a small tidbit on that series, I suppose, right? You got the D-backs. Weird, scrappy little team, right? Like, your best player, Corbin Carroll, sure, he's a household name to your baseball people, but man, like, he is just not, he just doesn't seem marketable, right? Just a little scrappy guy, like, who knows, 5'9", 5'10", runs like hell. Good player, great player. He's their guy, right? You got Evan Longoria, he's like 39 years old. I don't even know how he's still on the team.
I didn't know he was still playing baseball till late last.
He's in the World Series,
I was like,
my friend.
Wait, Longoria is not coaching? He's batting right now?
So if you go player by player, sure, like every team, have a few guys, right? Kettle Marte, Christian Walker's okay. Gabriel Moreno, I did not know he was going to end up being the 3-hitter for your World Series representative in the NL, but here we are, right? Guy's only 23, 24 years old. But is it more on the Diamondbacks just outplaying the Phillies, or do we think the Phillies blew it, right? Like, do you have this lineup that was on fire, right? When that series went from Philadelphia, right, there was 2-0, they went to Arizona. You're telling me that at that particular point, anybody thought that the Diamondbacks would win that series?
Absolutely not. Well, I mean, and both those series ended up that way. Houston was up, and Philly were up. And it looked like, okay, well, that's it. You know what I mean? And so part of me does feel like Philly blew it. Philly was like, okay, we've done it again. And they took their foot off the gas. Because how else can you explain that? Because I don't feel like, Arizona didn't have extraordinary pitching to win those games.
No.
But they sure as hell hit the ball.
Yeah, Game 5 was Wheeler, right? There's your win.
Yep.
Right? Wheeler basically became an automatic W for these guys, as he should have. Right, so you're up 3-2. You're going to what is supposedly the hardest place to play on earth, right? You have those whack jobs out in Philly. Just going crazy. All day, every day, going crazy, right? You have Diamondbacks giving them bulletin board material, right? Merrill Kelly coming out of the woodwork to just be like, they're not that loud. It's like, what are they doing? Like, they're just walking into it. What are we doing here? And then they got it done. Yeah. Right? Like, the bats, Phillies bats kind of went cold, right? You got Schwarber out, you got Harper out, Turner didn't kill you. You got those, you made the role players beat you, and they couldn't, nor didn't, right? Like, if you make Alec Baum beat you, then so be it.
Yeah.
Right? If he's going to hit 2 home runs, if he's going to have 5 RBIs, you got me. Good luck.
Yeah.
But they didn't, right? And I don't think Nola pitched a bad game. Like, Suarez didn't pitch bad. It's just the Diamondbacks kind of took advantage, right? Running the base paths well, stealing some bases, taking advantage of those particular opportunities.
One thing they did each game that they won. It got diced Game 7. It was definitely nerve-wracking for them Game 7, but Game 6, they won 5-1. But both of those games they jumped out early, and baseball, again, talking about momentum, that helped them just kind of dictate how the rest of the game would go. If they had not jumped on Philly early in Game 7, they lose that game. And that at bat with Harper, who, by the way, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and preface this. I hate Harper more than any other baseball player on the planet to ever live. Okay, back to it. So that at bat with Harper had everyone on edge, and because obviously that guy can get it done. And when it didn't happen, I was like, game over. This is it. Like, they navigated through the hardest and most the biggest threat, and now they're out of it. They won the series. They're going to go, and that's what happened. So it's interesting how those moments, like when we talk about again the Braves and Phillies, Acuna came up, bases loaded, and lined out. It was a long line drive, but it was still harmless. And had that gone different, the entire series would have shifted, and it didn't. So, it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to get your opportunities, right? Like, as much as you could complain about everything, this guy pitched bad, this guy blew it, yada yada. All of a sudden, you look up, you got your MVP, you've got bases loaded. Who else? Like, you would want nobody else up.
That's the perfect situation,
right?
Yeah,
like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And then it's baseball, right? Like, as much as you don't want to believe it, as much as you'll say, Ronnie blew it, you've got 30% chance of him getting a hit there
at best, yeah
right.
Absolutely.
Like, if you break it down that way,
yeah.
Like, sure, okay, some guys hit at a higher clip in that pressure situation. I don't know his numbers off the top of my head.
He hasn't had a lot of opportunity, to be honest with you. Like, Ronnie was injured our World Series run, right? He was injured that whole year. Last year, obviously didn't go well. And so he just hasn't had a lot of opportunity to be the guy in the most stressful of situations. And so I'm hoping he can get to that point. But Bryce Harper has shown that he is that guy, and he will be. He's him. You know what I mean? And he was against us. Fuck that guy. We could. I don't know why we pitched to him. I was like, hey, that's home run number 12. Let's stop throwing him the damn ball. And we continued to pitch to him. He continued to hit it out of the damn ballpark. And so, I don't know. It's interesting to see the how it played out. So now we know who's going to. So Rangers, Diamondbacks, right? I guess we can go and talk about the AL series. Let's do that real quick, and then we'll get into the World Series, all right? So the Rangers and the Astros was a very fun series to watch, and it's because both those teams rake. You know what I mean? And that Rangers lineup, man,
that's a deep lineup.
They hit the ball, and it's. I don't want to make predictions because, like now, but. Man, they scored 20 runs the last two games. 20. That's like, and so again, game of momentum. How do you not see these guys just steamrolling the Diamondbacks? But anyways, I think we both agree Astros suck. Screw the Astros, they're cheaters.
I hate the Astros more than any team in Major League Baseball.
No one was rooting for the Astros.
And their fans. Anybody could come at me. I hate the Astros and every single one of their fans.
And every single one of their fans.
So that's not to say I love the Rangers. I just dislike them less than I hate the Astros.
Yeah. The Rangers scored, the lowest run total they had was 2 runs, which was game 1 when they won 2-0. Everything else was 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, and 11. And say what you will about the Astros, they are a very good baseball team. They are well-rounded when it comes to pitching and batting, and they couldn't keep up. And what do we credit that to? Not Rangers pitching, right? I mean, are they pitching out of their league? I don't think their pitchers are that incredible.
I mean, I don't know what it has to do with the postseason and this guy, but Nathan Eovaldi is.
That's fair.
He's done it with the Red Sox too. I mean, the guy shows up.
I'd be interested in what his stats are this postseason, so you might
take a look.
Pull that up real quick. I mean, you're right. He definitely has been pitching out of his mind, but I mean, really, you don't have to do that much pitching when you hit like the Rangers. Which, by the way, sidebar, the Braves did all season long until the postseason happened. I'm not bitter about that at all. But yeah, I think it's fun to watch playoff baseball when these guys who aren't household names from that perspective step up and become, real leaders.
Simple stats here. Again, we're simpletons here. No advanced stats just yet.
Yeah, we're just coaches' sons. We don't know anything.
2.42 ERA.
Yeah.
28 strikeouts, 26 innings, 3 walks, 2 home runs.
That's consistent.
Against the Astros lineup, like that's pretty. He gave up 3 runs and 2 runs respectively. From that, and thinking about that, right? That's your number one. I mean, you're going to need some run support. But with that said, what the other thing I was looking up is you take a look at the lineup construction.
Mm-hmm.
So don't come at me about this in particular, but Josh Jung, whatever you want to call him, he's your 8 hitter.
Yep.
Guy's hitting 289 with a 920 OPS this postseason.
Yeah.
I mean, during the regular season, he was hurt a little bit, a little banged up, but the guy hit 266, 23 homers, 70 RBIs. You're getting that out of your. He made a little run for like AL Rookie of the Year.
He did.
I don't know how that played out. I haven't looked recently, but he's your 8 hitter. Now, do I think Mitch Garver should probably be hitting there? Yeah, sure. I don't think Mitch Garver should be anywhere near 3 through 5, but that's not my decision. That's Bruce Bochy's. He's a little better than myself. But again, when you're coming at a lineup with him and, again, say what you want about Nathaniel Lowe, but that's your 7 hitter.
Yep.
If that guy, he's not having a really good postseason, we'll say that. But, that guy turns it around and you're back to neutral, right? Even if Adolis slows down a little bit. And let's not forget that Marcus Simeon's playing like a bag of baseballs right now.
Yeah.
He is not, he is not worth anything in this postseason thus far. Mm-hmm. And quite frankly, it doesn't have to matter. I mean, you got Seager. Adolis is on another planet.
Oh my gosh.
Right? There was some chatter amongst our friend group saying he might be. He reminds us of Randy Arozarena.
Yep.
Right, like big stage, bright lights. I think they're friends, very close. They came up with the Cardinals together. We're not going to beat that horse because everybody talks about how good the Cardinals would be if they never traded away guys from 18 years ago. We're not going to talk about that. But anyway.
Sorry, St. Louis.
Yeah, we're sorry, not sorry. Send Paul Goldschmidt to the Mariners, please. But yeah, I mean, you've just got depth in that lineup, right? Yeah. You've got even Jonah Heim, all-star catcher.
Yep.
Leody Taveras, 9 hitter. More than fine. He plays a great defense. He's better than Rojas from the Phillies offensively. The other thing, you have Eovaldi, and then, Jordan Montgomery, I don't know where he's coming from, but man, he is pitching lights out. I'm trying to talk and look up stats at the same time. I'll get better at this, I promise. I'm not doing my best. But I'll jump off a tangent and come back to him.
Yeah, sorry. I was just looking, Eovaldi, obviously, he pitched 6 innings in game 6, but the Rangers put him 9. I mean, he didn't really have to do much, right? He just had to get them over the finish line there, and they absolutely did. All
right. I'm a grown man again.
You got it.
Montgomery, 2.16 ERA. Not a ton of strikeouts, 17 in 25 innings pitched, but against Houston, he did give up 6 runs. I'm assuming that's game 1. Mm-hmm. Gave up 2 runs. No, shit, those are strikeouts. He had 6 strikeouts, 0 runs. I stand corrected. Sorry about that, Jordan. So
put respect on that name.
11.2. We're doing math here. This is bad for the podcast. About 14 innings against the Astros. Only gave up 2 runs.
That's great.
A lot of hits. Probably scattered a few hits, but he was pitching out of stuff left and right.
Yeah.
So again, kudos to him. Kudos to Eovaldi. We're ragging on Rangers pitching. That's where this started, and it's like, what? They've kind of been pretty good.
Yeah.
They as much as the lineup is producing, pitching has kind of been there.
Yeah.
And then that weak spot, right? What's the weak spot? Bullpen, right? Bullpen, stinks. Yeah. Now, I'm not standing up for Leclerc, however you pronounce it. He's been not very good.
Right.
But this Spores fella, 8 2/3, 1.4 or 1.04 ERA.
Oof.
Aroldis Chapman, hate his guts.
Wait. Why do you hate Chapman's guts?
He's not a good person.
Oh, that's fair. Okay, yeah.
He's just not a good individual.
You're right.
He deserves 0.
I'm so sorry. You're right.
He deserves 0 happiness. But
throws the ball really hard still.
He's the closer on this World Series team, so whatever. Somehow, I expected him to be in the Leclerc range. He's got a 1.42 ERA. Only 6 1/3, but he walks some guys, scatters around.
Hey, you're scoring 9 runs. You don't need a closer, man. It's just that's how it works. I don't feel like he's done much because he hasn't had to be called on to really hold out. Game 7, because Scherzer went 2.5, and it was a bullpen game.
Yeah, you got to piece that together.
But yeah, he just hasn't had to do much.
If you want to go on the other side, right, for a minute, my boy Paul Sewald. You're welcome, Arizona. But, that bullpen has been
lights out.
Better. I haven't gone much further than these two, but Ginkle and Seawald combined 17 innings and not one run.
That's amazing.
And 24 strikeouts.
Yeah.
You're talking.
And that's the Phillies. That's who they play. The Dodgers.
Yeah, they're blown. They're running through teams.
Yeah, it's not like and that's the thing. The Diamondbacks have not played bad teams.
No.
Like they had, and what was the first? It was the Brewers. Yeah, it was the Brewers. So Brewers.
They weren't supposed to beat them.
They weren't
because they were coming. Well, Woodruff didn't pitch. He's probably out next year. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But you talk about that pitching matchup. You're talking that rotation of Burns and Peralta when they only need 2 wins. And you're again from day one.
And
There's been nobody. Too. Maybe a few people could have picked the Diamondbacks against the Brewers. Maybe, but again, game 1. I got Corbin Burns on my side.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Corbin Burns.
Absolutely.
1,000%. And I don't remember who they threw. You would assume that they threw Gallen, but I don't remember.
Gallen, yeah.
I don't remember how they wind up that rotation in their days, because I think they clinched the second to last day because they were playing the Astros, and that killed the Mariners. But the Mariners killed themselves. But we do get to watch Paul Sewald, right?
Yes.
We're happy for him. Seattle is happy for him. I hope he continues to do his thing because he did it for Seattle for so long. But, yeah, Diamondbacks aren't a team to mess with. Now, if you want to talk numbers, Gallen hasn't been that good on the mound. I love Zach Gallen. Guy hasn't been that great. Kelly, mediocre. Merrill Kelly is mediocre, right? He's a third arm rotation guy, right? Like middle of the.
Yeah,
he's number 2 on this team, right?
I would call him a 3 for sure.
He's a 3, right? Yeah. And he's a good 3. Like that's fine. If Merrill Kelly was my third starter, I'm happy. I have no complaints.
I would take anything. We didn't even have 4.
Well,
we didn't have 4 in the
coming from your, he's not better than Logan Gilbert. We're not again. I'm going to talk up the Mariners when I can. Small victories, but again, he's fine. I have no problems with him. But now you're in. You need these games, right? You can't. I know you've been getting this run support, but you can't give up 4. You can't get tagged for 4 and 5 in a third innings. It doesn't work that way.
But here's the deal: like, is that just not going to happen though? Because it's the Rangers. You're going to have to score runs. Like the only way that
you're not winning this game. 3-0, 3-2. That's not, or at least that's not how the Rangers have played all year. Now, if you want to go into offenses and getting cold, I guess talk about a roller coaster season. The Rangers were world beaters for 3-4 months out of the year, and then 2 months they were probably one of the worst teams in baseball. Let Houston and Seattle right back into the race. Hell, they lost the division. They didn't even win the division. Yeah. They made the playoffs by a game.
Yeah.
With 2 probably with tiebreakers and shit over the Mariners.
Right.
They made the playoffs by 1 game.
Yeah, that's fair.
So to say that the Rangers are just going to come out and stormtrooper the Diamondbacks, it's possible, sure. Like they can just stay hot and keep doing it, but we just saw what happened to the Phillies, and it's possible. And I think, Seager's been here, so he knows what it's like. But like, Adolis Garcia hasn't been here before.
Hey, that's a young, inexperienced Texas team.
They have a good mixture, though.
It's not as bad as like the Orioles, per se.
Yeah. They're not. Okay.
Yeah, they're
that's
not the
fair.
Orioles. They're all like. I swear, dude, that's the youngest team I've ever seen in my life. Like that whole lineup, I'm like, it just made me feel old. They made me feel old. I'm glad they lost because I didn't want to have to watch those babies win the World Series.
Yeah, we'll get into them because they're. I didn't like them in a postseason. Their pitching wasn't very good. That's neither here nor there. We're in the World Series. We don't talk about teams besides the Mariners that either didn't make the playoffs or are now out of the playoffs. But I guess you could talk about the Braves, but I'm just going to give you shit anyway.
Okay, that's fair.
But again, like you have Simeon, but he's been trash. Seager's your veteran guy.
Yep.
Garcia's older in age, right? He's 28, 29. He might be 30. I don't know.
I don't think he's 30.
He's older.
Is he?
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Just for comparison's sake, Rosarena's not that young anymore.
That's
he's like
fair.
27, 28.
Okay, that's fair.
But yeah, other than that, yes, they are young, right? Josh Young is young. Heim is young.
Young is young.
Young is young, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah,
Mitch Garver's on the older side, sure. But they don't have that. They have Seager.
Garcia's 30. You're right. Okay.
Yeah, he's definitely on the older side, which is fine in baseball years, right? I guess
Yeah, right.
But if that's going to be my argument for the Rangers, then who the hell are we talking about on the?
Yeah, I'm going through their ages. Looks like Young and Tavares are they're young.
Yeah,
they're
I mean,
young,
Heim
25.
isn't that old. Heim's probably 26-ish.
He's 28.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so Simeon is
Simeon's 32,
33.
Seager's probably 30 or 31.
Yeah, Seager is 29.
Okay.
The young Evan
I'm
Carter.
so bad at this.
Their center fielder's the youngest.
Oh, we love that guy.
He's
Evan
21.
Carter. We like him.
Yeah, he's 21.
We've got him in every fantasy baseball league I could possibly be in. I love that guy.
He's a baby. Garver, 32.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so they're not as young. I guess they're not as young as I thought they were.
But here, let me get this out of the way before I get ripped apart by just saying the Rangers are inexperienced. I mean, the Diamondbacks don't have any, right? I mean, you have Longoria. Okay, you have Longoria, but he's worse than.
Wait, let me see how old he actually is.
Evan Longoria, my guess is 37.
Homeboy's 38.
I told you I'm so bad at this.
Holy cow! No, I love Longoria because
been around.
He's our
But
age.
he hasn't
still
been relevant
in the majors,
in a
man.
long time.
Speak
for yourself, our
crazy.
age.
Hey, shut up. You're my age. All right, so I'm looking at this team though. You know what? They might be younger actually.
They are. They're all young.
Carroll, 23.
Thomas is probably 24.
Marte's 30. He's older. Moreno's 23. Holy cow. Walker.
Yeah, Moreno's young. Walker's 30 or 31.
32. Pham is older, 35.
I hate Tommy Pham.
These guys are feast or famine for age, man.
Yeah.
They're either 23 or 35 and older.
Gurriel's probably
30. He's in the middle of the road. Thomas is 23. Longoria we already talked about.
And then pitching's weird. Gallen's
Perdoma's 24.
Gallen could be 26 to 28, somewhere like that. Merrill Kelly's really old. He's 33.
I think you're right about that, actually. Let me see here. I'm trying to find...
Yeah, Merrill Kelly is surprisingly old.
Because
it feels like he just came onto the scene, recently. He's just been... he's been around, sure, but I feel like he hasn't been this, number 3 caliber starter for more than 2 years now.
Right. So Gallen is 28.
I was right. I gave myself 3 years there. That was good.
Yeah, you're not bad. You're closer than some of them. Who else were we looking at? Kelly.
Merrill Kelly. He's 33.
Merrill Kelly is, what'd you say?
33.
35.
Even older.
Yeah, so he's...
Gotta get him off my dynasty
Seawald
team.
is...
Ooh, Seawald's 31.
33.
Ooh, yeah, see, that's why we got rid of him.
Yeah.
But
He's too old.
But it wasn't the right move. Look at him. He's just too old.
So technically, if we were going to do the averages, which we didn't do that much, prep, but it seems like from an age perspective, they're pretty even. Texas is consistently mid to late 20s for the most part, whereas, like we said, Arizona's either way old or way young, right? So who has the advantage in this series? What are you thinking? Who do you think is going to win the World Series? Let's go prediction. Let's do it. How many games? Who wins? Who is raising the ugliest championship trophy in professional sports?
As our fearless leader Rob Manfred would call it, a hunk of metal. That I made an anecdote to that earlier, so credit to me. At this particular point, who I think is going to win, and who I need
you to put
I'm trying
your
to
flag in.
I'm trying to preface this. Because remember, I'm a Mariners fan, so there's a few ways to look at this. So
you can't.
Let me
Texas.
Well, let me say my piece here.
Okay.
The Rangers are better on paper. I want the Rangers to win from a perspective of salary cap, and that sounds weird, but hear me out. I say that because there are so many teams, so many owners that are just cheap and just want to go the route of, we have all these young guys, we're just going to ride with them, we're not going to spend any money, we're going to be all this under, the luxury tax, all that. If you can't tell, I am hinting at the Mariners. But the Rangers said, we don't care, we're going to spend.
Yeah.
All people will say, you go on Astros Twitter, and it's, they spent $800 million. And you'd swear that they spent it just now, like today, to win it.
Yeah.
And it's spread out. And that's how they got Seager and Simeon. And guess what? That's what it takes. You have this mixture of solidified veterans that you pay a shit ton of money for, and then you mix in guys, right? Like throughout a season, there's, there's 26 players now. They don't do the 40-man call-up, but there's probably 40 to 50 guys that play on the team throughout the year, right? Like all, mixes, you're calling guys up, this whole thing. I mean,
and Texas is missing their biggest piece from the whole year. Like their big
DeGrom.
acquisition was DeGrom.
That's another guy. There's another salary dump.
Yeah.
Right? And then
it's not even part of this.
And then what happens? The trade deadline comes. And this is bad. It's bad news bears.
It is.
Good?
Yeah, we're good.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. But you thought I lost my train of thought earlier. Wait till you see this part. So you've got that, right? You got DeGrom. And then at the trade deadline, they go and get Pham. I don't know what he cost. I hate Tommy Pham.
Right.
But he's a guy. They stick him in there. He's a plug and play.
Yep.
Right? Like he's hey, we need an outfielder. Tommy Pham could be your outfielder. And then they go and get Max Scherzer. I didn't even get to touch on him yet because I don't really know what he is right now in this particular postseason. He's an arm. Is he a good arm? Is he an arm you're confident in? I don't know.
By the way, Pham is also a Diamondback.
Jesus. No, I was talking about. Oh my God. I am so bad at this.
I was like, hold on a second. I'm pretty sure it's the Diamondbacks. That's great. No, but yes. So Scherzer was one of their big acquisitions.
Scherzer was the guy they went and got.
And I mean, injuries. You can't predict injuries. DeGrom, Scherzer. They've spent money trying to get those aces in there, and all their aces keep getting hurt.
Well, again, the other guy, you don't want to say, you don't think of him right off the top, is Jordan Montgomery. They went and got him at the deadline too.
Oh, that's true.
So look where they are. Right, that's a team that they may have been in a different spot than others, right? Since they had the hot start, they were kind of riding up the top, and they're like, hey, we're going to go do this, and they did. Right, they went and got Montgomery. They went and got Scherzer. Yeah, Scherzer was hurt. Whatever the hell's going on with him. So now it's here, right? So now you have an Evaldi. They went and signed him too.
Mm-hmm.
Like he wasn't a trade, but they went and signed him, paid him good money, right? Evaldi ain't cheap. So you've got this mixture of a rotation that's bought,
mm-hmm.
but who the hell cares? I don't care. I mean, as a Braves fan, your team's constructed way differently.
Yeah.
Which that's a discussion for a completely different day. But like you think roster construction, and you're like, okay, well, the Rangers did it differently, and like that's good. Like that's good for the game. That's what you want.
You want the Rangers to win because they spent money.
Yes.
Okay.
And where the opposite of that was kind of where I was going to is like I like the Diamondbacks because they're young, because they're a mixture, and they built a good team too.
Yeah.
Albeit way cheaper.
Yeah.
Right, like Corbin Carroll isn't a super. He hasn't gotten a contract yet.
Right.
This Alec Thomas guy who came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He's not making any money yet.
Mm-hmm.
What's Longoria again? $8 million? Who the hell knows?
Yeah, I mean
right?
that's just because he was good. Yeah, 12
and then
years ago.
I don't know what Gallen. He's probably an arbitrary. Like they're not paying these people any. Moreno's in his rookie. Like every single guy you name. Kettle Marte, not sure.
Yeah.
I have no idea. But like they're not paying a lot.
Yep.
And it's like that's a good like Seawald, probably over 10.
Yeah.
So they went and got him at the deadline from Seattle. They didn't really give up much, right? They didn't lose. They lost a left fielder, a backup second baseman. Like what do they care? Kettle Marte was their guy. So it's a completely different mindset of teams. And my fear is the Diamondbacks get it done, and every owner, GM is, wow, I can do that. Right? The Rays, right? The Rays get heralded, right? They're the new Moneyball somehow, right? The Rays do it every year. They make the playoffs.
Yep.
But thank the Lord that they lose. I'm happy every single time that they lose in the playoffs. The Diamondbacks are not spending a ton of money. So
Correct.
What would have been cool for my point of Rangers of the making the point of the Rangers was the Phillies being in it, right? Phillies, Rangers, these teams spend like crazy. Love it. Baseball's awesome. Good for the game. Oh, no, to get there, we got to spend money. Now, it's not like that.
Yeah.
I know everybody, all 7 people that are going to listen to this are waiting for my pick.
Man, I hope 7
And I'm
people
just going to go
listen.
Diamondbacks.
Diamondbacks.
You
were making the case for Texas the whole time. Okay.
I want that. What I said was what I want isn't what I think could happen.
That's fair.
And it's going to take a monumental collapse of the offense, but the Diamondbacks just did it to the Phillies.
So what do you think the Diamondbacks do it in, and how do they do it?
I mean, it's going to be pitching and manufacturing runs. Right, like it's
you score more runs than the other guys. That's how you win, Chris.
No. Simmer down. It's getting your A game out of Gallen. It's getting Corbin Carroll on base. Getting Corbin Carroll moving.
Yep.
It's doing these little. Again, you talk old man baseball, but it's doing these little like hit and runs. It's getting moving the ball. I mean, when they did that against the Phillies, it worked, and they manufactured runs.
Well, I mean, going back to the Philly, if Arizona can consistently get out in front. They will be in a much better position. I agree. It's
just tough. Again, I'm going to hang my hat on the Diamondbacks. I know they're the dogs.
How many games?
It's got to go 7.
You're going to go 7? Okay.
Wow, the more I think about it, it's probably going to be the Rangers.
Yeah, so here's
what I'm going to stick to. Don't walk
it back.
I'm a shitty gambler with bad hair. And we've got Diamondbacks. Paul Sewald. It is time for Paul Sewald to pitch. And my guy, he's going to have 3 saves if they give him the opportunity, but he's going to close it out. He's going to lead us to the promised land.
Okay. Texas is going to win, and Texas is probably going to win in 5. I don't think the series is going to be very competitive. The Diamondbacks have been good most of the year. Like, they've been a part of the conversation as one of the better teams in the National League. And it hurts me to pick someone from the American League because I'm a National League guy. But I look at that Texas lineup, and I just don't see how Arizona consistently scores more runs. I don't think Gallen has not looked good. And if you don't get a good game out of, like 2 good games out of Gallen, you're going to lose the series. And I think they might get one, but it'll be a second one. It won't be his first. So I think Texas comes in and they just beat the doors off of the Diamondbacks. So I say Texas in 5 because Arizona has not shown me that they can keep up offensively. They've scored runs, but they haven't scored runs like Texas has.
So I basically put myself in a can't lose situation here, right?
Okay.
So I took the Diamondbacks. If I win, I'm happy, right? You were wrong. I was right. The Rangers win. It's better for baseball, right? It's better for the conglomerate.
In your opinion?
No, it's better in every way. Every way.
Okay.
You want a bunch of teams constructed like the Diamondbacks?
You don't love the Cinderella story, Chris?
No. I don't.
Well, here's the deal.
I want the best players playing at every a small segue. I enjoy March Madness, like for the first day, 2 days.
Yep.
And then I want all the best. I want all the best. I want Kentucky. I want Duke.
Yeah.
I want whatever.
Give me
UConn.
1 or 2 Cinderellas in there because it's fun. But then afterwards,
and then get them the hell out.
Get the hell out.
I don't need George Mason in the Final Four. Get out of my face, right? So similar concept. Yeah. Diamondbacks, cool story. Made it to Game 7. Philly should have took them down.
Yeah.
Now we'd have juggernauts. We got star power all over the goddamn place.
Yep.
And now I gotta watch Alec Thomas and
Corbin is electric though.
Sure.
That kid is a lot of fun to watch, and he's one of the next, I think, big superstars of the game. So that's great. And I think it's great that he has that platform because, say what you will, Arizona's a small market team. They don't get this kind of exposure, so it's good for them.
Sure.
But so part of me wants to root for them because they're the little guys. Who doesn't love a good underdog story?
Not me.
But I also grew up in the 90s where the Yankees just bought everybody and won all the time, and it was annoying. because you're like, whoever spends the most wins the most, and that's why when the Mets continue to just be dog shit, why it's hilarious to me, because they spend so much money and they can never sniff victory, really, and that's hilarious.
Well, the Mets are a different kind of funny, right? They're I don't know what's in the water over in Queens or wherever the hell they play now.
Can you imagine if you got drafted and like, hey, you're going to the Mets? Like, I'd be like, yeah, no, I'd retire.
No, I wouldn't be like that. I don't know, man. Like, I mean, you're going like let's back up a little. As a fan, right? You're a fan of the Mets.
No, I'm not. But I mean, I know where you're going with this. Yeah, sure.
Are you not excited every year when?
Oh, you have to be.
Right? Like, hey, we just signed, like, they're going to be big players in this Japanese player. I'm not going to say his name because I don't know it.
Yeah, the pitcher?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
So they're going to be a big player in this guy.
Yep.
They're going to be a big player in every free agent.
Ohtani,
and like,
probably.
they're there.
They'll be a
right?
part
They're
of the
in
conversation.
every single conversation, and this guy does not care.
Yep.
Why? He's got money. He don't care.
Yep.
But, like, all these owners are billionaires. It's not my money. I want to watch my team win.
Yeah.
I do not care. Like, does it suck when it fails? Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and Mets fans can't say they had a good year, but, like, what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what? Okay, like, they had Verlander, they had Shirt. Like, what? Like, if you look at day one, you had their roster.
I was terrified.
You're like, this team.
The Mets are going to run a train.
They're going to win 112 games.
Yep.
Right? They're not going to get beat.
Yep.
You know, they got Lindor hanging around. They even added like little pieces. That's exciting for you as a fan. I don't care where the money goes. I don't give a shit if the owner has to pay luxury tax or not. That doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
Go get me the best player, and I'll deal with if it doesn't work out. When it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
I'd rather you try.
Yeah.
And not succeeded than have not tried at all.
I mean, end all be all when it comes to sports, we want to watch the stars. Like,
yeah.
We want to see the studs.
Every time.
I get that. I completely get that. And that's why Texas is going to run an absolute train on the Diamondbacks. Because if they can contain Corbin, they can contain that offense because everything runs through that kid. But also, and we haven't gotten into this much, and we can dig into it later. I hate the new playoff format. So I hope that the World Series tanks and that the Major League Baseball affiliates and leaders go, oh, we have to restructure this in a way that doesn't make the regular season a waste of time.
All right, let's back up.
Okay.
We made our picks,
yes.
right? That's over with.
That's over with.
Go ahead and bitch about the playoffs.
Final segment. Here we go.
Go ahead and bitch about your loser team not making it through the playoffs, which is set up already for randomization. But go ahead, I'll give you the floor.
Okay, so here's the deal. The playoff format I hate, and here's why. I'm salty as a Braves fan. Okay, 1,000% true. We couldn't get it done in the playoffs after getting it done for 162 games, having historically one of the best offensive seasons ever. And the reason I hate it is because baseball is a game of longevity. And when they go 3 games, 5 games, 7 games, you're eliminating the longevity. So these teams that earned a bye only get to play 5 games, even though they were the better team for 162 games. And I feel like it makes the regular season, which is already long, already difficult to keep up with for most people, even hardcore fans, because it's such a slog. It makes it even more meaningless. It's kind of like, no offense, March Madness, reference that again. That if they continue to make that playoff, like that tournament larger, the regular I already don't watch a lot of regular season college basketball. You continue to make that tournament bigger, I will never watch regular season college basketball. And I'm starting to feel that about the regular season baseball, because what's the point if the playoffs are built in such a way that it doesn't matter? So that's my big complaint there. I do understand that there are people who think it's been a success because you have a number 6 and a number 5 teams in the World Series, and that's never happened. And I love that it's not the Astros or the Dodgers who've been in the World Series. One of those 2 teams have been in the World Series for the past 7 years. So that part, okay, yes, that's good. But those worst teams won in 7 games. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I think you just. I don't know. I just don't like the quicker format. I'm just not a big fan.
What's your counter proposal? What you want 4 teams?
No. So I'm okay with the amount of teams that make the playoffs.
Okay.
I think, and the wild card round can be 3 games if you want it to be. That's fine.
Sure.
But the rest needs to be 7 games. Every other sport is 7.
Okay. I can get on board with that.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. I think the fact that the division is 5 games makes no sense. Like it just doesn't make any sense that that's only 5 games. That needs to be longer form. It just does.
So I mean, it didn't matter a ton this year, right? Like the Braves kind of got waxed.
Right. I wouldn't say waxed, but whatever.
They got waxed.
Okay. Whatever.
But I fully support what you're saying. I'm fine. Keep it at 7.
Yep.
Right. We're good there. The next round, all you want that to be is 7. That's all you're asking.
Yeah.
All that.
Yeah. 7,
you're complete. You're making this whole big stink, and all you want is 2 extra games.
Absolutely.
I could give you that. No, that's no question.
Yeah.
What you didn't do, and what I thought you were going to do, which is why I was giving you shit, is I thought you were going to be like, well, the reseeding and this and that. Like I thought you were going to go into like this whole reseeding nonsense. I don't care for that. Just play it. You got to beat the team in front of you. It doesn't matter.
They don't reseed in the MLB.
They do not.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I thought you were going to be asking for that.
No. I don't care. I've grown up. Your tournament set and it's stagnant. That whole reseeding thing is.
So again, if you're, I guess I don't see that as a big deal then. If you're only asking for that round to be 7.
My preference is 5-7-7-7, like not 3-5-7-7.
Sure. Okay.
And I think
if they do that comes with a 150 game season probably.
Yeah, it makes the season longer. Or
you cut it down and then
if they cut the regular season, that would be great.
I don't know.
I think there are players out there that would love for that to happen.
The only way they're going to do that is if they expand the playoffs somehow.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that
I don't need more teams.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't know if that, from an owner's perspective, that either means more teams or more games. That means everything's 7 games now?
Yeah.
Or...
Well, here's the thing. If they do more teams, then those series are going to stay 3. You know what I mean? Because they can't do 7-game series with 12 teams.
Well, it's one or the other, right? So you're either getting more teams and you're doing 2 series of 3 games or something dumb,
I don't love
or
that.
It stays the same and everything's 7 games.
Right. I mean, that's fair. I mean,
which is whatever. I guess again,
maybe 2. Maybe here's the solution. You can keep 3-5-7-7 if you change it to 8 teams. So that the number 1 and number 2 actually play that first week and keep playing baseball. Because part of the problem, I think, too, is that these bye week teams, they sit around and don't do shit. And then they just get waxed for the most part. So, I mean, the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Braves, the only team that didn't, that had a bye that did okay was the Astros. Everyone else lost.
I don't know how I feel about that. Because, most of those teams... The other 3 teams, besides the Astros had to play until the second last day of the season.
Yep.
Meaningful games.
Oh, that's true. That is true.
The rest of them didn't.
Yeah.
Right? So, what?
Yeah, the Braves and Dodgers were wrapped up.
And the Orioles, those 3 teams were done. Right? They were done they were playing, the Braves didn't clinch, whatever the hell until the middle of September. But everybody knew that it was over with. Right? Yeah. So, that part is where I'm not. Yeah. I don't follow, and I get it, right? I'm not a professional. Never been here, take a week off and then go play. But I can't see how you're not ready to go, how you're not amped to go. I get it's different, but your guys are throwing live live bullpens, whatever.
I will say, and I was saying this going into the playoffs. I am worried that I feel so confident. 1, I'm worried that we go in as heavy favorites. And when we clinched all those weeks ago and then started playing Like we had a series against the Marlins where the Marlins scored like 40 runs.
That's my point.
And I was like, oh, this is not good. Like we're not playing good baseball anymore. We're just kind of
resting guys.
We're just kind of walking into the playoffs, and that's not a recipe for winning. So again, what is the reward for winning during the regular season?
Don't know.
There isn't one. Doesn't feel like there is one.
You pick your poison. I guess, but like, what do you want that? Like, what else can that reward be?
I don't know. And maybe that's right. Like, I should hold my coach's foot to the fire more into that and be like, hey, you should have done better. You should have rested guys during the middle of the season so that we weren't so far ahead. I don't know.
if you're the Braves, right?
Yeah.
Like in September, you've got, all but everything locked up, right? Okay, you didn't clinch first, but it's a thing coming.
Yep.
You're not letting Strider throw 115 pitches in 7 innings. Yep. You're like, hey man, you threw 5, like, feel good? Okay, come sit down.
Yep.
Right? Like, kind of shutting guys down a little bit. Yep. As much as did that happen? I don't know, but in my opinion, that's how it should have gone.
Yep.
Right? I mean, Fried didn't throw the last 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
Now you're going to come and pitch in game 2 of the NLDS.
Yeah.
And I need 6 I need 6 strong out of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Good luck. You know what I mean? Like I don't. So I get your point, right? Like again, if the Mariners made the playoffs, they would have been wild card. So this conversation would not have mattered to me. I don't know what you get, right? Because it's like the only thing I can think of is like, okay, you win the wild card round, and then you have to travel to the team next day, right? Like game ends Wednesday, Thursday's for game 1. And then it's like, well, that kind of screws the team that just won, right? Like, you don't want to screw them. Like, they just did a successful thing and won there. They did their job. So, like, how do you make that work?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why Rob Manfred makes, like, $25 million.
Exactly. And you know what? In the end, too, like, I know that I am just being a bitter, angry fan because my team didn't do what I wanted them to. But it does feel like they still don't have the winning formula yet when it comes to that structure. I think they're getting there.
Yeah.
But I still think there's something missing, and I can't really put my finger on it. Maybe it is 2 more teams so that and I think that might be better if it's 2 more teams, so it's 8 so that you just have that even playoff split.
So you want to play? So you're saying there's 8 teams you want to play?
Yep.
You would have wanted. I'm making it up. I don't know off the top of my head. You want to play like the Giants?
I think it would have been the Giants or
whatever.
Yeah,
you want to play the Giants on October 7th?
Yeah, give me the Giants. Give us those 2 games that we can wipe the floor with the Giants so that we're ready to play real baseball. Next week. So
this is the other thing about baseball, whether you have rest or not. Like baseball is so random. Like go look at. There's a stretch as good as the Braves were. There is a stretch at some point throughout the season where you got swept.
Yeah.
Right? Or you just said you played a series against the Marlins. It was dog water.
Yeah.
Right? Like you go, like the Mariners go play the Royals. They lose 3 in a row. You're like, what the hell is that? The Royals win 55 games this year.
And you know what? If that happens and we lose a 3-game series,
but then you're
bitching about it being a 3-game series.
That's what I'm saying. You're constantly going to have that complaint.
I know I'm being delusional, but I'm just. Part of me is like, I almost feel like if we lost a series to like if we're the highest ranked team and we lose to the 8, we don't well, crap, we should have beat them. Sure,
I don't think that'll ever happen. I think at bare minimum those division winners will have buys.
Yeah, but not all division winners have buys.
Well, the top 2.
That's not all of them.
There's only 3 of them. So okay, the Central doesn't get a bye. Like, what do you mean? The AL and NL Central does not get a bye. Mm-hmm. We just put that in the fucking rule book because that's over with, right? Like the Cleveland Guardians or Chicago White Sox aren't winning 100 games,
right?
Or not, whatever the hell. I don't even know what 89, 90, something like that.
I don't even know if they got to 90.
No, I'm saying like what the Astros and Rangers have.
Oh, right,
91, something like that.
I think something. I don't know. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up.
But again, my point stands. Again. Yeah, we need to do better on the look-up game. We'll get there.
Yeah, I'm gonna have an iPad in front of me next time. I think we're gonna have a better setup too. We're in a temporary L-shaped thing that's just not working. But
our booth's getting set up.
Yeah. So all right, Texas. Yeah, they both won 90.
And would the Central winner win? Would the Twins win?
87.
Damn. Okay.
87. Yep.
Surprising.
Then, Milwaukee won 92. So.
The Milwaukee Brewers?
Yeah.
Where the hell was I?
You know how many Arizona won?
84.
It's exactly.
I heard that a few times. That was just regurgitation.
They had the least amount of wins for.
Yeah.
And they're in the World Series.
And that, like, again.
Do you know what their run differential was?
Real bad, I bet.
Guess.
Run differential negative 57.
Not that high. Okay. But it is negative. They're negative 15. But all the other playoff teams, Baltimore, plus 129. Tampa, 195. Toronto, 75. Minnesota was plus 119. Houston and Texas, Houston was 124 or 29. Texas was 165. The Braves were 231. Philadelphia was 81. Milwaukee was 81. Dodgers were 207. And then you have negative 15 from Arizona.
Can't believe I forgot about the Twins there.
The Twins, yeah.
It's calling the Guardians, the White Sox. I almost threw out the Tigers.
You threw out the Guardians, who were third, and then the White Sox, who were fourth.
The Guardians are usually
76 and 61 games, respectively.
Their acquisition of Lucas Giolito from that debacle Angels dropping just didn't go well. That's what happened.
Lord, those guys. Who would have been the 8th team? Let's see here. It would have been Chicago. Would have been 9, and either San Diego or Cincinnati would have. Or I'm sorry, 7, and then San Diego or Cincinnati would have been.
You wouldn't have wanted to, you would if you played the Padres and Blake. Yeah, don't take that all back right now.
I take it all back. I didn't want
Blake Snell comes and throws 7 shutty on your ass. You're like, fuck this, man. Come on, dude.
Tatis and Soto both hit like jacks. Every other inning.
Everybody shows up.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Like, I know they're a dumpster fire, but if they got in,
yeah. They got in there beating people for sure. That's funny. All right, so I immediately take back every take I just had.
So. All right, cool. So 7 games all the way through. Besides wild card, 3 or 5.
3 to
the rest
5,
get 7.
But move everything else to 7.
150 game season. I'm down.
Dude, I would love that.
Give me that.
Shorten it. And again, you hear Major League Baseball players talk about they want a shorter season. Like, why would they not?
It's not going to be much, but I'd take 150.
Yeah.
But again, they're not going to get it without concession from, like, owners are getting something. They're getting more playoff games somewhere.
Yeah.
So we built it in. We got it.
Yeah, we got it.
Come call me.
Yeah, absolutely. We figured it out for you. You're welcome. So, all right. I think we've done a pretty good job here, Chris. We've introduced ourselves. We picked a name.
Hell of a start.
I think it's a great start. And you know, we didn't put a bet down on the World Series winner. I don't think we should because we're not really that invested.
Let me get some odds. I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, let's see some odds.
One more
thing. Now, we're going to go ahead and preface this. We're not a gambling podcast, but we will talk about gambling.
But we do gamble
frequently.
I mean, Chris gambles often.
Chris is the gambler of the two.
He's not good. Yes, I'm speaking in the third person. He's not good. First person, third person? I don't know.
It's third person.
Got you. I'm not very good, but I'm going to try like hell.
You are going to try like hell. And I try like hell during like the World Series and stuff like that.
Yeah, we get some Super Bowl action and stuff like that, but that's neither here nor there. Diamondbacks series plus 155. Rangers series minus 175.
I was thinking it would be minus 200, but 175 is pretty close. Again,
let's see what that was.
Who are the starters tomorrow, by the way?
It's your aces. It's Gallen of Aldi.
Okay, I love it. Let's go.
All right, let's.
Texas.
Yeah, tomorrow D-backs are plus 140. Where is the World Series? Yeah, what did I say? Minus 170 or plus 145. That's DraftKings official.
Okay, gotcha.
We're going to get them to sponsor us one day.
One day. Yeah,
right
go
now,
play at DraftKings. Although we live in a state where we can't actually use DraftKings.
we're going to be the driving force. All right.
I love it.
We'll figure it out. But Diamondbacks, what did I say? Plus 155, plus 160, whatever it is. Take it home.
In 7.
And then thank Uncle Chris for your winnings. I'll shoot you my address or my Venmo if you want to send it my way.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt you'll win bigger if you go with Chris's, but I can guarantee you actual money by going.
We're going guarantees
by going with Texas in 5. They're going to win this series. I want the Diamondbacks to make it competitive, but I just don't know if it will be.
All right, listen. Everybody that's listening or has listened to this, thank you.
Absolutely.
This is a work in progress. Hopefully we can continue to do this. Hopefully you stick around. But thanks for everything.
Yep. I'm Andrew.
I'm Chris, and we're the Coach's Sons.